Hello and welcome back to our Change interview series. Today my guest is Anca Petcu-Bhatti. We know each other because we have been classmates, so to speak, in a course of the English coach Joanna Hunter. And that course was called My $1,000,000 Experiment. It was about getting the mindset right and tools and ideas for how to make 1,000,000 within 1 year. And Anca is here today because not only has she faced and experienced and made major life changes, but also has she managed to become a self-made millionaire within that container of 1 year. So thank you, Anca, for being here with us, and welcome.
Thank you for having me, and it's such a pleasure to be interviewed by you, Susanne. And it's awesome to have classmates like Susanne, if you want, because she's the girl that actually does all the hard work with the details and everything. I'm more of the flower power girl, and I'll be extremely happy to share my flower power story with you today.
Thank you. Great. Anca, this interview series is called Change, and that's about encouraging and inspiring people who are either facing big life changes that are not of their choice, or who want to make big changes. And you started out already with a very big change when you moved from Romania to the UK with your kids. Would you tell us a bit about how it came to that?
If I may, I will tell you about the first big change which I've actually decided to do in my life. So yes, I'm coming from Romania, and most people think, oh, Romania, poor people, and so on. Well, I had a very, very wealthy upbringing. When a computer was first in Romania, it was in my house. My dad has been a director of a computer factory and so on for many years, and my upbringing was very wealthy. However, emotionally, it wasn't wealthy at all. It was wealthy material-like. So at the age of 14, I've actually decided to do the first change in my life. I went to the countryside and told my grandma that I had enough of her daughter and her son-in-law, so I'm going to run away from home and get myself a job. So that was the first time when I've actually decided enough is enough. I think what really bothered me, and you might want to look into your own life, at that time when I was in the city, in the capital with my parents, I was the director's daughter. When I was at the countryside, I was the girl from the city, the girl from the capital. And I was never allowed to be Anca. And all what I wanted it was to be free, to walk with the cows on the field, and that's pretty much it. Nothing of the impressive life I was meant to have. And the fact that I wasn't allowed, whoever was inside of me was not necessarily allowed to come and enjoy the world as she wanted, it made me run away from home at the age of 14. So that was the first change. And then the second change, big change, when I came to the UK was about 12 years ago. And it was as quick as this. I'm scared of everything, literally every single day. I without any exaggeration. But the only way I know how to deal with my fears is to just do it. I'm not doing any advertising for a particular company here, but I'm literally just going for the thing that scares me the most. So a lady calls me, oh, you should move to UK, it's so good here, there's so much work and so on, you'll have a nice life. 4 days later, I was in an aeroplane. Seriously, I packed my bags. At that time, as you already heard, I have a dreadful relationship with my parents, still is. At that time, I was living in my mom's house. I was paying her rent to live in her house and all the bills. And I was paying her a full wage in order to care for my children. So I was like, there must be something better to life than your mom charging you rent and babysitting rates and everything. I must do something. I must have my own home. I was really desperate. The main reason I moved to UK, it was to put a roof over my children's head and for them to have better education. So yeah, 4 days, jumped in a plane, and then I went to the job center. Where would you go? You are in a new country, you need a job. I went to the job center, and the job center person said, you do realize that as a Romanian, you don't have the right to work in the UK. And I was like, oh my God, what do you mean by that? He said, yeah, you can be on benefits. As an Eastern European, we don't really understand this handing over money thing. We understand, like, go to work as hard as you can, go to work as hard as you can. So that didn't really sit well with me at all. Otherwise, I could be self-employed. So I was like, oh, I can be self-employed. I've just flew over from Romania, where I had, I used to be an osteopath, so I had my tiny massage business. I had a tiny food business. I was buying from a place and selling to other people. And that was covering my own food bill. And what on earth was I doing? Multi-level marketing as well. I'm a big fan of multi-level marketing. And yeah, so I was like, okay, self-employed, no problem. I went self-employed, went to a shop, found myself a job in less than 3 minutes. Yeah, then I've learned what poverty actually meant, because I've never really experienced poverty fully. I have seen poverty, but I haven't experienced it in my life. So when I actually moved to the UK for a better life, I've experienced what people call poverty. I was being paid by the shop. I was a shop assistant. I think I was earning about £90 a week, and the rent for one room in a share house, that was with the children, was £65 a week. And with the money that were left, I could barely cover nappies, let alone food. So I heavily relied on food banks. And I've never given up. I think if I'm an expert in anything, I'm an expert in never give up. I really wanted to have a better life. I really wanted to have a roof over my children's head. So I moved on, and at some point, a lady said, why don't you start cleaning? Because it's quite flexible around the children nursery times. And I was like, okay, I'll do cleaning. I'm such a relaxed person. I either do things really well, I either do nothing. Doing nothing is my luxury thing, if you want. I've learned to say, oh no, sorry, I'm busy doing nothing. It's absolutely fine, just so you know, to do nothing. If you feel you should do nothing, then you do it. So yeah, I've started a tiny cleaning service. Then I've discovered I'm the most forgetful parent on planet Earth, so I had to bring eco products in my house. And because I was keep leaving things all over, and with 3 small children, that wasn't safe. So I could no longer have toxic stuff in the house. So I moved to eco products. So this is how I've ended up having an eco business. At the time, people were like, oh my God, eco business, eco cleaning business. This is so amazing. That's a great idea. And I'm like, my weaknesses are really serving me here. Simply because I forget things around the house, and I had to switch to something that was at least safer. Then I ended up as the first eco cleaning business in Bristol. And by choice, due to my story, I have decided to be a living wage employer, which means we pay a higher wage than the national wage, simply because we believe that the national wage is not enough, and everyone deserves to have a house and a holiday and pension paid and so on.
Okay, so I have a few questions on this part of your journey. So as you said right now, you have 3 children. Yeah, I think we can see them on the picture behind you. And you said 12 years ago. So your smallest child was still a baby. You said nappies and all. Wow. So you just jumped in a plane with your
Literally.
3 children, and one was a baby, and went over to the UK. Did you have did you have a feeling when you heard about come to the UK and it's great here and so, did you have a feeling something like, yes, that's a good thing for me, or I want to do that, or that feels good to go there? Or was it really, like you said, just, oh, that frightens me, so I should do it?
I was really hurt by the fact that I had no support house-wise from my parents. The fact that they thought it's normal, not even now in the Romanian society, after so many years, it's normal for your parents to ask you to pay rent and the bills, and to pay your mother to stay with your children. So I was so hurt about that. I was like, this doesn't work for me. I've run away from home at the age of 14. I became an adult. I had children and so on. And I'm back again with these people. This relationship never actually worked for me. So unless I'm going to go out somewhere where whatever I'm earning is actually considered for me to have a chance to have a roof over my children's head, it's just not going to happen. So it wasn't necessarily out of fear. I think it was more out of curiosity. I'm a ridiculously curious person, and I think it serves me really well, because the more curious you are about learning about life and things that are happening around you, the more knowledgeable you become in a natural way. So no, not necessarily fear, just felt really hurt. And I was like, these people, if I have the money, they'll support me. If I don't have the money, they don't care about myself or my children.
So you, okay, you were just fed up and wanted out of there, and that was an opportunity coming, and you were curious about it and very courageous and brave, actually.
Yeah.
Because that's really what popped up in my mind. I mean, I think we are all curious people, all people who are in these classes of Joanna and doing self development and things. We are all that's a common feature of us. And I also think it's a very important trait. They say it's a very important trait also for running a business and being self-employed. But what popped up in my head when you said that was that they say there's something like a 1% of people who will succeed anyway, with advice, without advice, and so on. And that and there is a teaching of the gurus, so to speak, business gurus, that you should feel the fear and do it anyway. And what you just recounted and told us is, reminded me of that, of basically just going against your fear and through your fear and jump into it. And that's something most people really wouldn't do. So I think you are actually one of the 1%, you know, who really go for it and have this ability. So that's very, very interesting to hear. And the second thing I wanted to ask about is how did you practically do that? You had 3 little children and went to the UK, and you knew nobody, I think, and just needed to support you somehow. And how did you practically do that when you started to get a job and had your children, and to, you know, how did you make it happen to be even able to work? Because that's, I think, probably a huge problem for most people who have small children, that they even can make the time to work without having the children sit alone at home.
So at the time, I started it with one cleaning job. I think it was like 3-4 hours. The way I've done it, I've created some paper leaflets. I'm a technophobe. I'm dreadful at technology, but somehow I've managed to create those leaflets, and I went and put them through people's doors, and also put them in shops. I don't know if in Germany you have, like, in the shop they have like a community board, and you can put your leaflet there for free. It still works for any of my businesses, even for the money mentoring. So I'd say always do it. There will always be that one person who's looking for your particular leaflet. Old school marketing is still really good. So I've started with one cleaning job. I could not afford to take the bus and have just one cleaning job. So a friend lent me a yellow bike. And I was cycling to the job. It was faster than the bus as well. And I would come back, and then in the because I either do things really, really well, I either do nothing. The customer was really happy about my cleaning. And she said, look, I've got a friend. Would you like to work for her as well? And I was like, oh, I'll have to check with the nursery if they can help me, and I'll let you know. And then later on, I have decided to speak to a lady who was like me, stuck at home with her child, and she needed money to bring her daughter up. If she was to go out for a job, the nursery would be way too expensive. So what I've done, what I was earning from the cleaning, I was pretty much sharing with her, or maybe it's fair to say most of the days she was actually earning more staying at home with all 4 children than I was earning going out cleaning. But I really needed that adult time. I really needed to see my own money. I really needed to have the power in my hand to be able to do things for my children, not wait on someone to give me. And also, when I came to the UK, I've met, I don't know if you've ever been in a church in UK. I don't know how churches are in Germany, but in Romania, they are very strict. You have to be very quiet, no dangling earrings, no bright lipstick, nothing like this. You have to put your head down. And in England, it's not necessarily like that unless you go to a high church. And these people were praying and dancing and so on. And I was like, oh my God, this is more like a disco rather than a church. So I really liked it. I felt really, I'm a Christian. I've always been a Christian. And I've got my Christianity from my grandma. I felt really welcomed. I no longer felt like the black sheep how I was feeling in my family. I still feel like the black. I feel like the black sheep in my family at the moment. Yeah, honestly. So the church community helped me a lot. The church community still helps me. And if I ever have any down moments, just by thinking how nicely and welcoming these people were at the time is literally just uplifting my energy in seconds.
Mm-hmm. So you go for a good feeling thought in those cases, and then you get uplifted. Yeah, that's a really, I think, a really good advice to take, to have something like that, a really good feeling thought on demand, you know, that you can use when you need it. Oh, that's
I've been taught in Romania that when you pray, you have to kneel down and so on. Mm-hmm. So in a way, I was in a sort of a mind prison, if you want. And when I came to England, they were like, why do you have to kneel down when you pray? You can pray even if you go on the roof of the house. You can pray whenever you need to pray. You just pray. So every time I was going to my cleaning job while cycling, I was praying and praying and praying. So maybe you don't pray, but maybe you meditate, or maybe you listen to a song that you like. The more you can help yourself and keep yourself into joy and serve that need in you, the better the world around you will get. You don't have to do anything about it. It literally gets better.
Yeah, so that's really an important point, I think, that you said you were praying, so you were doing a spiritual practice that put you in a good vibe, right? In a good mood. And so that's, I think that it's not important if people are religious in a traditional way or spiritual, or even just understand the usefulness of having happy thoughts and being in a joyful mood. I think that's really important and can be transferred to any person and any worldview, to just stay in a joyful mood and put you into that as often and as much as you can. So thanks, that's a really good advice.
I talk often about the triangle of emotions. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of triangle of emotions, but if you go on Pinterest or even on Google and put triangle of emotions, you'll notice that at the top of the triangle, you've got joy, and at the bottom, you mainly have worry and disappointment. The more you worry, you are at the bottom of the triangle and you do yourself a disservice. the more you find any kind of reason to keep yourself into the joy. I mean, I just out of the blue put a song and do a dance in the kitchen. That's all it takes sometimes for me. Sometimes it's not enough because life is life, and we had the two very interesting past years. So just whatever it takes for you to keep yourself at the top of the triangle of emotion into joy, just do it. Just go for it. Love yourself, serve yourself. The more self-love you can put into your life, literally the world around you starts to serve you.
Thanks. Yeah, that's exactly, you're a natural talent at this, really. For people who are not natural talents, here is my advertisement disclaimer. That's what I help you with as a coach. That's actually what I'm doing and focusing on right now to do mental training, and also working with hypnosis to get people through the barriers and to help them to get more control of their thoughts and their feelings and emotions, and to get more into joy and inner peace and calmness and things like that, to feel good and to feel much better, no matter what the circumstances.
I'm a big fan of hypnosis. I would highly recommend hypnosis to anyone. And if you're like me, so I came from Romania thinking that hypnosis is something like this, right? They lay you down on a bed and then they extract every single bit of information from your brain, because that's what people were saying and that's what I saw in films. And one day I was lucky enough to meet a lady who was actually a hypnotherapist. So I braved up the courage to say, so when you lay people down, do you find out everything that's in their mind? And she goes like, I don't care what's in your mind. I'm there to help you, not to bring up all the crap. I'm fine without your crap.
Yeah.
So if you're like me and you're like, oh, I'm not going to hypnosis, I would say, darling, you really should go to hypnosis.
Yeah, it's actually just a very beautiful relaxed trance state where it's like a bit of a wellness treatment, and you can get out of stuck situations and stuck emotions and so on. Great. So, Anca, then you just told us how you established this cleaning business and how it took off because you had an original idea out of just your life circumstances. That's also interesting to note, guys, when you find something in your lives that is problematic or needs a solution, and you find a solution for yourself, maybe it's a solution for someone else too. And how did it go on then? I think you also got very, very ill.
So I came from Romania, and the reason I'm actually in England is because my partner at that time, he didn't give any notice that he's coming to England too. He just came. Oh, okay. So there was no way back for us at all, because back home we were renting. I had no intention to go back and rent from my mom again. So I had to keep going with England, and my cleaning business grow and grow. He was earning really good money. He was a hard worker, but do not ask me where his money were or where his money were going, because I have no clue to date. And I think I was working at some point 8 a.m. to nearly 10 p.m. in the evening, cleaning and cycling. And at some point I've collapsed in the bathroom, literally collapsed. That's it. I was gone. And because I was working on a self-employed basis, I had no clue about sick pay, pension, whatever. I've ended up, from what it was a really good income from cleaning, I ended up into nothing, zero. I was desperate. And being back to zero again, I turned up to one of the charities in Bristol, Princess Trust. They are in England as well. And I said, look, there's no more down I can go. I really need help. Either I make this business work, either I literally have nowhere to go. I have no home in Romania nor here, so I have to do something. They helped me make a business out of it, where I've employed people and so on. I had to overcome quite a few things, because having to move from a one-man band person doing cleaning by myself, where I was charging probably about £11 an hour. When I turned up to the charity said, sorry, but unless you charge £15 an hour, we cannot help you to make a business because it's not viable. Oh, ladies, I have cried for about 9 months until I've managed to tell the customers that I'm going to £15 an hour. Guess how many people left? None. I was like, what was wrong with me? I've cried for 9 months that these people will go. The world will end because I put my prices up. And then the customer like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, oh, God help me. So I had to overcome my own money barriers, my own mindset blockage, if you want. I think it's more of the fear because I've started again from zero and I didn't want it to be in zero. And being in zero made me become homeless. I could not, at that point when I ended up at zero, I've also decided to separate from my ex-abusing relationship. It was financially abusing and emotionally abusing, and I was like, I had enough. I'm either going in the ground by myself, I'm either thriving by myself, and that's it. So I've separated at that time, and because I had no money, I had to let my landlord know and said, look, I'm no longer able to pay the rent. I also been diagnosed with cervical cancer. So there was a bunch of many things that I don't want anyone to have.
So you first, just to sum this up shortly for the audience, so first you collapsed from overworking, right?
In a 6 months period, I collapsed in the bathroom from overworking. Then I've decided to separate. And then I've received a letter at home after having a test that I've got cervical cancer. And they said the maximum I'll have, the doctor said the maximum I'll have, it will be another 5 years. We are now 8 years on. And because of no money coming in, I also had to tell my landlord that I can no longer pay the rent and I don't know what to do. And I went to the council and I asked the council to help me because I was becoming homeless. My landlord took me to court for, he wanted the house back as well because he didn't want it to have someone in the house who is vulnerable and can't really pay her rent. So from June to December, I became homeless, literally. In December, I think it was December 8 years ago, I was in my car with the children, with a couple of blankets, a couple of pillows, and I just went to the council. I said, that's it. The executor was at the door, throw us out, lock the doors. We have nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. And then the council put us in emergency accommodation. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've been homeless for a bit, and then finally we got the house where we are today.
Great. So, and you had raised your prices then in your business to make it viable, to turn it into a real business. And I think that many people who are starting out in business can relate to that, because we're actually happy to get clients at all, and then when we have the clients, of course we don't want to shy them away by saying, okay, now it's going to be more expensive for you, but it was all okay. It was still a good price.
Absolutely. The customer had no issue. I had my own issues that I had to deal with. No, so if you are in business and you feel like you should put your prices up, or your prices are actually low, is not necessarily that you feel like. What I would say is have a chat with yourself. I talk to myself. I don't know if you talk to yourself, but I do talk to myself. Have a chat with yourself and see where that little barrier that holds you back might be. Sometimes it's connected to self-worth. Sometimes it's not necessarily self-worth. It's probably, for me, was definitely the abuse that I had in the past, from my partner, from my parents, because I wasn't good enough. I didn't become God help me what, and all sorts, So I was carrying with me other people's emotions, which is definitely not helpful. So have a look at what you might carry with you, what emotionally you might carry with you, and how is that holding you back, because it's just not worth to carry it, I promise. It's like have a 2-liter water bottle and go with it everywhere. Yeah, so just throw the 2-liter water bottle down. Just put your emotional baggage wherever it should be. I don't know, maybe put it on a piece of paper and then burn it, or maybe record it on your phone and then go like delete, 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 delete.
So some
You see what it feels right for
some
you.
symbolic action. There are great tips out there if you want to get a bit fancy about how to throw that sort of limiting beliefs and emotions and things away. How you can do that. There are things like you can crush a coconut on the street or something like that. But go out and check what is appealing to you. Okay,
Yeah,
so you got rid of that problem, and then you could charge more and run your business. And
yeah, so I've started to have employees. One by one, slowly, I've started to learn how to become an employer, how to bring people in the business, how to train them to do the same level of cleaning I was doing without the customer to not necessarily feel the difference. I've learned how to deal with the tax and so on. I have great relationship with the tax people. I think they are awesome people. Many people run away from them. I don't. I run to them and I'm like, help, look what I'm doing. So yeah, and sorry, going back to the raising prices, when you raise your prices, you will discover the wonderful customer who are actually waiting for you. You know, there are people in the world who would not go to a 3-star hotel, and if you keep yourself as a 3-star, they will probably never come to you. But if you raise yourself to 4-star, 5-star, 7, whatever you feel you want to, then there are really wonderful customers out there waiting for you to go to that level and meet them in the middle.
Yeah, I hear that all of the time. Also, people in the digital world, you know, who sell online courses and things, they all say when I sold a course for $50, you know, I had a lot of hassle and a lot of problems and clients who wouldn't do the work and then complain about the results and complain about this and that. And since I'm selling courses for 1,000 or something like that, I have better customers, less stress, less work, more income. So it seems to work that way, really. And yeah, people need to understand that. I think nobody ever told me that before. You know, I learned that just
people are more committed to themselves.
Yeah,
and that makes your life easier and their life easier, and you really become partners rather than you pulling away those people who actually want to just stay in their comfort zone, because they have already made a decision. They have already said, I'm going to pay this much money, 4 figures, 5 figures, 6 figures, whatever it takes. I want to be there. I want to do that. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So they've already done the work, because as a coach, as a mentor, you can do whatever. If they don't do the work, it's not kind of what can you do?
That's right. Yeah, you can't really reach into the person. Not even with hypnosis can you reach into the person if the person doesn't cooperate and really go all in. And I have noticed that myself too. Actually, that the moment I pay more, or I have to pay more and make the decision to pay more, I will be more committed to make something out of it because I have paid that much. So that there must be a result in the end. You know, while when it's just easy, yeah, well, okay, I can lose that money, that doesn't hurt me, then it's more like, yeah, let's see if it works or if it doesn't work. Things like that. Yeah, great. And then you had and when you built this business while you also had this still had this diagnosis, cancer diagnosis, which I think would take a mental toll, didn't it?
I think what happened for me, I freezed. I have many things I don't remember. because I was simply by myself with the children, and I really had to make it so my daughter would be 18, so the two boys won't end up in an orphanage or something like this. I was so focused to survive the next 5 years in order for her to become the legal person to care for them, that I went into probably survival mode, freeze mode. I don't even know how to call it, but I could only see what am I meant to do for tomorrow in order for this to happen. So when I've been given the no more than 5 years to live, everything has changed. Even when it was about an ice cream, if I know I die in 5 years, will I eat the ice cream or no? And that changed a lot for me. That helped me a lot to prioritize. As I said, I would much rather do nothing than spend my time where it's not worth it. And it's okay. We should give ourselves permission to do what works for us. So yes, I was having health surgeries, which meant I had to take days off work because I was in the hospital for a whole day. And in a way, it was a good break from the world because they were putting me through full body anesthetic. So it was like a very relaxing thing. I didn't know anything while it was happening. It was really helpful to stop my brain. At that time, I was still believing that hypnosis is something that takes something out of your brain. And yeah, every decision since then has changed. I think they've kept me under observation for quite a few good years, and then they said you're clear. You can return every year now instead of every month. It was at some point. So yeah, it just cleared. I don't know.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, that you just get cured of it, or your body heals, and all the best for the future that doesn't return. But I think you are so you are so joyful and lively and all. I think that energy that you have, I'm convinced you will have a great long life and a really joyful time. And I'm really happy that you managed to go through that. So
thank you. I'm very intentional with everything I do with my life. As you know, I run Money Tree, and it was my intention to run it. It brings me joy. Spending time in there and telling women how I make money, that brings me joy. So I'm very, very intentional with what's happening in my life. And I think 95% of my day is I'm staying in joy. I'm a normal human being. A lot of things have happened. But I find ways to take myself out of worry as soon as possible. I remember seeing a coach, and she said to me, what do you want next? And I said, I'd like about 3K a month. The next month I've turned to her. I had the 3K a month. That was net profit. And then soon after, I kind of reached 6 figures. It was natural. I'm really... I'll repeat again, but when I do things, I like to do them really well. So the customers were always happy. When I trained colleagues, the colleagues were happy because I was showing them the easy way to clean and the best way for the customer to be happy. So the business just expanded itself. And because there was more and more demand, and I actually didn't have all the people in the world to provide cleaning to everyone. I have no intention to provide cleaning to the whole city anyway. I'm looking just for some special customers. I was able to raise the prices and so on. So I think at some point it starts to become naturally. And at some point, the more you declutter your energy, you find yourself. I started to find Anca more than before because I've been told I've got 5 years, and I was like, I better find this girl before it's too late, you know. Who on earth is Anca? What is she doing apart from being a mom and so on? So yeah, my cleaning business reached 6 figures. I think at that time I've given up on having goals and on having plans. I prefer to live my life on a flower power basis. Whatever comes my way, I decide if it's right for me or no. The way I decide, I used to close my eyes and look inside and talk to myself. Is this good? Does it feel right? Maybe yes, maybe no. And now I no longer need to do that. I've learned to work with my own energy in order to do that, to take everything through my Anca's filter, if you want. Is it worth it or not worth it? And then COVID hit. We have something very funny in Bristol. Every time the country goes down, Bristol goes up as a city, because London professionals, they move into the city. So they actually bring a wealth of economy, and Bristol economy works really well. Every time the country goes down, which is so strange, people go, oh, so how's your cleaning business? And I'm like, God help me, I don't know where to find more people to give them jobs, because I've got work coming to me like I'm the only one in the whole city. So God placed me in the right place. I always say, regardless of what's happening in your life, start where you are, start with what you have, and do what you can. If it's good, if it's not that good, just try to find the goodness in what is not necessarily that good. So yeah, COVID hit, cleaning business went up again, but my other business, my husband business, went down. So we were left with one income. And when I met Susanne about a year ago, we were thinking to ourselves, what exactly are we going to do? Because none of us is the kind of person to wait for someone to do something for us. We both come from backgrounds where we've seen our parents, our grandparents working hard for what they wanted. So we were keep dreaming about having a property business, and with only £15,000 to our name last year in February, we've started buying properties at auction. And when the first refinance money hit our account, I was like, this is for real. This really works. So I've done nothing else rather than put a massive speed on and bought property and property and property and property. And I think 8 months later, let's say 10 months, by December, I had 1.4 million in property value.
So yeah, here is our millionaire. Yeah. No, it's really great to hear that story, because you did that so fast. So you just started out. And did you have any prior knowledge about property and what to look at when you buy property to make sure that it's going to be profitable to resell it?
Not really, but I think what was happening, I was being challenged again. I was being sent back a little bit into survival mode, if you want. Yes, the cleaning business was doing well, but my main value is freedom. And a cleaning business is not necessarily freedom. A cleaning business is more like, I call it a paying prison at times, honestly, especially when colleagues want to go on holiday and I want to go on holiday. And obviously the colleague goes on holiday, not me. The summers are the most challenging, because if they are parents, they want to go on holiday when the children are off school. But then my children are off school. So I've got to learn plenty myself. I've got to learn how to bring a manager in the business. I've got to learn how to delegate more. Delegate is not necessarily my strength, because I've kind of done everything. I'm not even sure how to break it down to tell to another person how to do it. So I'm slowly learning that myself. And the fact that we were left with one income, I think it slightly sent me into survival mode again. And I've got to do something, and I've got to get out of this thing that doesn't necessarily feels like freedom to me. So this is why we went for property. Did we had any prior knowledge? Not really, but we had a background which was, it's good to invest in property and it's good to have gold. As simple as that. This is why we went for property. If you ask me now, as a woman who plays her money games, is property the best money game? Not really. I had really good deals, but property is pretty much the first step of. Sorry.
We are approaching the end slowly. I have a few questions left. One is, as you said, property is a good start, but it's not the best option. Apparently, I mean, I won't go into that now because it's a specific situation now. But it's interesting to know that you went into that and could do that profitably without a lot of knowledge, background knowledge, because I would be like, you know, the person who says, okay, I first have to do a 6 months of research on finding out how to make sure that I'm not sinking all the money, you know. Yeah, because it's a high level investment, you know, you need a lot of money to put into it, and then you need to make sure that you can sell it again to get it out again, and so on. But because you said there are other options and you are sharing them on Facebook in your group, I just wanted to ask if you want, is the group, I am in the group because you invited me to the group, but is the group by invitation only, or would you like us to put the link in the description, or so people can find you?
Feel free to put the link in the description. Ladies would be very welcome to join. What you'll hear there, you'll hear us talking about crypto. It's mainly for beginners. None of us is such an experienced crypto person as Susanne is. We actually learn from her. So when you come into my tree, I'm not going to tell you much about crypto. It's pretty much Susanne who's the boss in there. We share about property. We share about how on earth to make a spare 10 pounds, 10 euros you might have to work them for you rather than you keep work for them. Because if we keep follow the cycle of go to work, get a pay date, spend the money, go to work, where are we going? Nowhere. So if we manage to discover a little bit of spare money in there and we put them to work, it will be really helpful, because in a year time, things will be better for you. Your financial well-being will take the next step. So this is what we do in Money Tree. We just have fun. We're only ladies in there, and we giggle at each other, and then we take charge and go for it.
As I said at the start, we both joined Joanna Hunter's My $1 Million experiment. Obviously, I am not a millionaire yet, but things are getting better slowly now. And I didn't take all the benefits from it, because I very quickly noticed that there were a whole load of other topics I had to tend to before I could even start focusing on the money. But you joined that too, and in the course of that year, you made this million with the property. And my question would be, how did you come across this experiment, and what did that do for you on this path and on the way to your first million?
I've heard about the $1 Million experiment from my money coach. I was actually doing a money course at that time. And my money coach said, look, there's this lady and she's doing an experiment. It's just this, but if we use her affiliate link, our affiliate links, then we can share with friends and we make a bit of money and so on. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, okay, let's try. If you say, I'll follow you. I didn't even really look at what it was. I just trusted my money coach, and that's it. So I've joined. And the first thing that was really challenging for my mindset, it was, oh, what would people think if I'm going to share my affiliate link? They'll think that I want to make money from them. That easy without working. So my mindset a year ago needed way more work than it needs at the moment. but I've done it anyway. I was like, you know what? I would have been so sad if my money coach would have not shared this with me. So I'm actually going to go out there like a lunatic and keep share it. And it's people decisions and it's people right to decide if it's right for them or no. I would, and I always say, any opportunity, come to me and let me decide about it. Don't get yourself all flustered because I'm not sure if she wants it or no. You don't bother about that. Just tell me. So I've done exactly that. I was like, I'm just going to put it out there, and whoever feels is right is right. So that was the first step I've overcome in my money mindset. And I remember I was working probably in one of the properties and so on, and Joanna announced, oh, we've just passed 600,000. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's possible. A little window in my brain had opened. Something inside of me gave me permission, just because she said that, to be like, okay, I don't necessarily want $1 million. I want all I wanted from the property business. It was financial freedom, which I got reasonably quickly. I wanted financial freedom by September this year, when I'm going to be 40. But I just went like a lunatic for it and got it faster. And when Joanna said about the next level money she reached, I was like, but why not have $1 million? Yeah, I could do it. $1 million is fine. It's not a problem. And then it just happened. So I think the more we accept that we are capable of anything we want, and the more we allow the little windows in our brains to go like, okay, maybe I can too. I always say, if I can do it, you definitely can do it. So yeah, I think that was the big thing. It was just, after that, it just happened naturally. As soon as I allowed the thought into my mind to say, yeah, I'm okay with $1 million, bring it on, then it came. I was like, oh, okay.
Great. So the resistance was removed and it opened up. It's great. Yeah. I took a very, very huge lesson from Joanna, which is really helpful for me. And I think that's what you automatically did, because you are a natural talent, actually. And that's to when you see something that someone else has, that you would like yourself, not to go into the mode of, oh, why do they have it and I still don't have it, and don't I deserve it, and things like that, but to look at it and say, okay, that's being offered to you too. If you like it, and just say, yes, please, I would like that too. Thanks for offering. And I'm happy for that person to have it, because that really changes the energy. And I think that's kind of what you did. You looked at that and thought, yeah, why not for me too? Thanks for offering.
One year ago, when I joined the experiment, the $1 million experiment, I honestly thought my thinking was literally, yeah, of course, this Joanna's experiment, of course, Joanna's going to make the $1 million. And here I am 6 months later, hearing Joanna announcing about her passing 600,000, and I'm like, go on, Joanna, lead the way, we'll follow. And then a few months later, I'm the one saying, hey, girls, I've counted my money. I'm over it. But honestly, a year ago, I was that person with the stinking thinking. I'm like, yeah, of course, it's Joanna's experiment. She's going to make the $1 million. We are the little ones that pay for it. Well, hello.
That's great. It's actually awesome change, right? So great, wonderful. Thank you, Anca. It was really joyful to talk to you as always. I really enjoy that. We must meet more often. It's very uplifting. You have a very uplifting, joyful energy. Thanks for the interview. I hope everyone got a load of value out of this, because you are a little bit of a coach yourself. And I hope to have you again when you cross your billion or something like that, or have other exciting news to announce. Thanks a lot. And
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to meet you a year ago. It's such a pleasure to have you in my life. When the interview is ready, please feel free to share it in Money Tree. And if you want me to come back and speak specifically about money, why am I so like a magician with money? If you want me to come and talk specifically about property, I'd happily do so. Anything that could help another woman make a pound or a euro is literally my joy. I would just sit here and do my best to lift every woman in this world up to make more money.
Great, wonderful. We will do that, certainly. And I will pop the link to your Facebook group, Money Tree, in the description. So everyone who is interested in learning more and has a good command of English and wants to be more in your world can come and join. And yeah, we'll see each other on Facebook then. Thank you, and have a great day, Anca.
You too.